Hello, hello. My name is Janine and welcome to Trigger Warning. With me is Gary and Sammy. Hello.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, Gary. How are you?
Doing awesome.
It's another beautiful day and it's another awesome topic that we are going to tackle. Another interesting one, maybe even controversial in some people's eyes. But the question that arises or that has arisen is crypto a fad? That has come up over time, over many years. And I know that in 2009, the one Bitcoin was worth about $8. And it has just recently hit over 30,000 US dollar for one Bitcoin. That is actually unbelievable if you just think of the evolution of cryptocurrency. So with that, I wanted to just open up this conversation with Gary and Sammy to talk. Do you think it's a dying fad? Is it just something that's coming and going? Is it ever going to die? How do we read any economy, whether it's fiat currency, look back at the history of the world and the way that investments have taken place over time? And as we go into this new era with cryptocurrency, how do we read the trends to know if it is a fad or not? How do we answer that question? So, Gary, I'm going to come to you first. And we know that, with this amazing feat that Bitcoin has made, reaching over 30,000 US dollar for one Bitcoin, that's doing great. Cryptocurrency is doing great. It's on an up again. But in many economies all over the world, and I know specifically with the US dollar, the normal economy, the dollar itself is not doing so well. People are moaning about all over the world. Even where I am, moaning about the interest rates and the increases of prices of food and everything. Like, give us some perspective on how to position ourselves so that the economy is always good to us, no matter if it's up or down or positive or negative or wherever it is. Just give us some insight there.
Yeah, first off, thank you for starting with an easy question. So that's right. Yeah. And it's a good thing this podcast is called Trigger Warning. In the late 1900s, I was in my late teens. So it's 1980s. It sounds better to say late 1900s. I got served a pamphlet called The Sovereign Investor. And it said, maybe there's some stuff going on that regular folk don't know about. Cool. I'm curious, right? So that starts me on a path of finding info. It's got nothing to do with straw man and sovereign, and we're not getting into that nonsense. But this group was called The Sovereign Investor, and it had maybe a different perspective on what was going on. And the first thing I realized was I don't have any control. So what's going on? I don't have any control. You said 2009, Bitcoin was $8. I'll share a story without sharing names because I don't have their permission, and it's a private story. But we'll turn it into an example. In 2009, the real estate market was terrible. Credit dried up. I lost millions of dollars, and I was having a conversation with somebody, and I said, what are you doing with your money? How are you still doing deals? And he had a deal going on already. It's like, well, he goes, it's $80 million. I'm just paying cash. Awesome. That wasn't the answer to my question at all. Let me rephrase my question. For the rest of us who don't have $80 million for the projects, what are they doing? And there's some brothers that started a telecom, and there's maybe three brothers, maybe 4 or 5 billion between the three of them, and they're car guys. And they bought a $35 million Ferrari, one of a kind. And I was like, why would you do that in this economy? Because you got to put your money in something. It's the only one. It was an NFT, and people get their money back out of it. Now, Bitcoin's $8 back then, but that one Ferrari brought all the money at a Barrett Jackson type auction. So if Bitcoin just hit 30, and it looks like the fiat economy is not doing so great and crypto's rallying, why would that be? Economies don't affect everybody equally, and there is always a class of folk who are not affected by the economy. If the richest man in the world is jockeying positions and Elon Musk is temporarily number 2, and Warren Buffett, I think, is number 5, and Warren Buffett to the richest man in the world is like $110 billion away, and Warren Buffett has $105 billion. I'm actually closer to Warren Buffett's net worth than Warren Buffett is to the guy who's on the top of the list, if we're just doing math. So as those things change, if the economy hits the middle class, Folks who have money still have money. Maybe they don't have $220 billion anymore to be the richest person on the planet. Maybe for them it goes down to 100. Maybe their fortune's cut in half. They still have money. But if a smaller person's fortune gets cut in half, it's detrimental. So the Bible tells us the poor will always be with us. And I say that Walmart proved it. Sam Walton proved it. That he made his fortune servicing folks and I shop at Walmart all the time, a great price. But like, what do we do? So why would Bitcoin have value? It's a place to park your money. It's a place to park your money. It's widely accepted, and the value shows that. So folks who have an extreme amount of wealth, it's a terrible idea to leave your cash dead just in an account. Especially now after Silicon Valley Bank. It's just not a good idea. Dead money, put it somewhere, and then it's got to be easily tradable, and then you want it to have a global impact. So if one economy goes down, or one class, or one asset, or something goes down, something else goes up. You find the people with money, they rally, they put it somewhere else. So Bitcoin's on the run. The talks now where the U.S. dollar is maybe not going to be the U.S. dollar anymore. Now there's some competition. Now there's some stuff going on. Not maybe we're not the petrodollar anymore. So is crypto a fad as much as fiat currency is? The thing that we're all on. And then people say, well,
Gary, I think that last statement should be, is crypto a fad as much as potentially the U.S. dollar is now maybe a fad?
Yeah, the U.S. dollar, or all the dollars on the planet, all globally. There's gonna be. So it's 2023. We've got a little distance between 2009 and Bitcoin is recognized that it's one coin. That is one thing. There was a TV show in the old days, I forget what it was, and on the TV show they said, "Hey, I just bought one Bitcoin last night. It was like $3 or $4." And everybody else on the TV show is looking at them like they're crazy. $3 or $4. Hey, I bought a Bitcoin last night. Right? It made it to the news. So cryptocurrency is here. The governments are looking at it. The governments are going to want to regulate it. They're going to want to do. If you have let's say you have $100 bill, and Janine, I owe you $100 for services, and I pay you the $100. And Sammy's like, "Hey, Janine, where's that $100 that you owe me?" And you give Sammy that $100. And I'm like, "Sammy, you got that $100 you owe me?" He says, "Yes, here it is." Right? We all just got paid in full. $100 is intact, and it's back in my pocket because we all provided services to somebody else. And then the bartering mechanism for the services was that $100 bill. If you make that completely digital currency and get rid of cash, that $100 will diminish in gas fees, credit card fees. So if I were to pay you $100 on a credit card, and we all had to pay fees on that, the average that I'm paying right now is 3.5%. The more times around the $100 goes, it gets devalued every time. So I believe there's always going to be a need for cash, and then there's going to be a fight for, does the governments of the world want us to keep cash because it stays intact? That $100 can make that trip that I just explained 1,000 times. The only thing that happens to it is it gets worn out, and then they shred it and make a new one.
And the other thing is that what the $100 can buy can go up or go down based on the marketplace or economy that you're in. Right.
But same thing with digital. It can go up or down, but digital will always eat itself up. But you need both because there's a tremendous amount of convenience in having credit cards and debit and moving. And if you've ever tried to wire money overseas, you got to go to the bank. And the federal government in the United States, and I'm just giving my opinion on this as things start clicking on stuff. They at least up, from the last 100 or so years, or whenever we started doing wires, the federal government said we'll be in charge of wires. So if I want to wire money, let's say to Africa, I got to go inside the bank, and then the bank manager is going to come out and quiz me on why the money's going to Africa, and I got to have my ducks in a row on why the money's going to Africa, and then I got to verify on the other end with a bank that I'm not used to about getting my funds, and then they're going to give me a SWIFT code, and then there's going to be a period of time where you can't see the money, and it's going to be between 1 to 2 days. and that's a stressful 1 to 2 days of my money. I have a code that says I have it, but it's a little bit like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory with that camera that picks you up from one end and sends you particles to the other end. Those particles are floating and you can't see them. So now if it were crypto, it's right away. It's a smaller fee. It's right away. There's less hassle. So the mechanism of moving money, blockchain is going to be here. It's going to stay. It's not going anywhere. It might morph into different things, as we go from fractional to fiat, and now people want to go back to fractional currency. I'm like, I'm not sure how we're going to do that. I mean, it's so if you want to be in crypto, you should have a firm understanding of the fiat banking government system. And then from a point of view of you don't have any control over it, you're welcome to pick it, complain, and say it out loud. It's not going to help anything. And I don't do those things because they're not productive. I mean, if you're the type of person who want to do that, just learn what we can, share it with the ones around us, and then move on.
Good insight there. I like that idea of just looking back at history, looking back at all types of investments, whether it's normal cash or crypto. Many of the same principles still apply. The government does want to always be involved too, so we do need to keep that in mind. But with that though, Sammy, there is a move to a little bit more of a global acceptance of crypto. I mean, I see how it's getting stronger and stronger all over the world. Yes. I wanted you to just speak a little bit more into that to just, weigh in. Is crypto a fad or not if the world is accepting it more?
Right. So, when we're thinking about is cryptocurrency a fad, the next question is, does it have real value and can wear? Right? And I'm not talking about a pizza place that's going to accept crypto for delivering a couple pizzas to you. I'm talking about more wide acceptance. And, you started to see Cash App allow people to buy crypto within Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, right? And you're going to continuously see more of it. I would say Venmo, Cash App, and Zelle are like training wheels for you to understand crypto. Right? If you send Zelle to a brand new phone number, what does the Zelle app usually ask you? Do you know this person with cell phone number ending in 2469? Do you trust them? Because once we send this money, there's no turning back. It's an understanding. So that if someone knows how to use Venmo, Cash App, or Zelle, they're going to understand cryptocurrency. Right? But the global acceptance piece is where it's going to get really exciting. Right now, electronic payment merchants are traditionally Visa, Mastercard, Amex. Let's throw Discover in there. We don't want them to be upset, but let's just throw Discover in there too. They are making billions and billions of dollars a year on facilitating transactions, and there's a whole merchant economy built around 2%, 3%, 1.5% swipes, ATM machines, right? Now, when a new technology like cryptocurrency comes in, as advantageous as it is, the powers that be are going to resist it until they can make some money on it. Right? If Walmart had the Wall coin or the Sam coin, for Samuel Walton, not me, right? And now they were like, we will accept cryptocurrency, but you got to buy Sam coin. That's the only one we will do. 30, 40, 50 different exchanges across the United States that do crypto can sell you Sam coin. Now there's value. Now Walmart would be, see, if they did that, Visa, Master, Discover, Amex would be like, hey, you can't do that. We're not going to let you process credit cards anymore at the store. There's that balance, right? And there's going to be that acceptance point where technology is going to get so good, going to get so fast, and the community and the users are going to want it, that it's going to continuously happen. Think about Uber and the taxi medallions in New York City. Hey, Uber is significantly better than a taxi. Come on. And a car service, most of the time. Taxi drivers were trying to block it, legislate it, whatever they could. and it didn't matter. The people got what they wanted. And that's the feeling that, when I look at cryptocurrency and acceptance, first of all, now more and more people have a cell phone, iPhone or Android. And whether they're using a top of the line one or they use one that's serviceable, and now they have 3G signal or 4G signal, the command to send cryptocurrency is so data efficient, and the app is so simple. And now that everybody is, almost every phone has a camera on it, then you can just show a QR code. Hit the QR code, all of a sudden your transaction starts. So eliminating mistakes. So it just facilitates the ease of use and acceptance. And as another generation of people come in, look, my older kids didn't touch a tablet or a Android or a touchscreen device until they were like 8 or 9 years old. But my youngest been touching that thing since she's like 2 years old. Her ability to manipulate a digital device is so much better. Her ability to understand. So that's where cryptocurrency, global acceptance. Are you gonna, not just Bitcoin ATMs or crypto ATMs, but when you start to go to large, big box places and you see a Home Depot, a Lowe's, a Walmart, Amazon starting to make using cryptocurrency easier, right? And that's the direction that we're going. I don't see the opposite direction of, well, Amex, Visa, Mastercard, they're gonna get stronger and they're gonna be able to block cryptocurrency. What is more likely to you? Walmart, Amazon, Target, Home Depot, and Lowe's accepting crypto, or the government getting so strong that it's going to, Visa, Master, Discover, and their financial lobby being so strong that they're going to be able to block cryptocurrency acceptance at the retail level? What's more likely to you? I know what feels more likely to me, but I'm involved in a cryptocurrency project. I have a lot more hope about it. But so in that sense, we are still in a democracy, at least in the United States. I don't know, true definition, but the people will get what they want. And the global economy will get what they want. It's just the acceptance of, all right, let's give them what they want, and we can still profit from it. So, that's how I feel about it. I think that's a universal thing. And if you watch this video now in 2023, maybe you watch it in 24, 25, I think it's still going to be accepted, to the point where you can go to a vending machine and use crypto. You can, so that's what I see.
I love a petition. Nothing to stir that up a bit, just to also make sure, keeping the powers that be in check, so that it's not just a monopoly of those big players at the top, but now giving a bit of competition. I like that. Yeah. So Gary, I'm going to come back to you. Do you think that, if we go back to our topic of, is crypto a fad? Is there any chance that crypto can die?
Well, there's a chance that anything can happen, anything. I mean, the U.S. dollar, what it's under right now, is the first time in 80 years. But 40 years ago, everybody would have said no. There's, is there a chance? There's nothing's absolute. Well, death and taxes. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that, if it is, it just morphs into something that's even better. Really, no difference than Mark Zuckerberg is putting it into Meta, and it's all meta, and then all of a sudden AI is here and that's shiny. Is not Meta anymore. Now he's switching horses and hopping on AI, and it's just going to make those two things better. Crypto's super convenient. Like if we went from a monetary standpoint, value, cash, NFT, in the camera behind me, I got some spears that came from Disneyland, that came from Jungle Cruise, that came out of the prop department. They're the only 3 I have. I don't think there's too many of them out there. If I were to sell them, it's a limited market, right? The Gotham City behind me, or Superman, the limited edition prints, they're going for $3 or $4 grand a piece. If I owed Sammy $4,000, I could try to say, hey, do you want this painting? He's like, what am I going to do with it? Someone's going to have to turn it into something that I can use. The pirate hanging on the back wall is the only one in existence. It came from the park at the end of the ride, not for sale. But if it was, I would have to be like, try to find somebody, get money from them, turn it into something that Sammy will accept. Let's say I owed Sammy $4,000, and I was like, bro, I got $4,000 worth of Bitcoin. He's like, yeah, just transfer it to me. Problem solved, right? And and so as we're looking and doing,
I think there is one scenario that I could envision that cryptocurrency can die.
What's that?
Mad Max and the Thunderdome, Waterworld.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
and then right.
Right.
Yeah, the world comes to an end, so to speak. Then maybe currencies, bottle caps.
Right. Because cryptocurrency, most cryptocurrencies are all dependent on a global independent network of servers and nodes that are decentralized. All right. Now, if we get into the Mad Max and the Thunderdome, the human beings decide to bomb the solar sphere because the Matrix robots have gotten too strong. All those bad scenarios are happening. Are you worried about the value of your cryptocurrency, or are you just like,
no,
hey, get to the bomb shelter, and you got
bigger stuff going on. Yeah.
Right. So that is that's the one scenario. All global networks die. That's when crypto could die. Now.
Yeah. So let's say I got cash from around the world, and I have to give it to you. That's a hassle. I got to figure out how to get this somewhere and get it to you. Let's say I have crypto on the blockchain online. I get it to you very shortly. Yeah. Now, my local economy, this is super helpful. My economy that's not local, I need this medium of exchange, and the ones that exist now, wires and SWIFT, is not convenient, and they're expensive. So I mean, just the simple utilitarian use of it serves a great need. That need's always going to be there. So there's always going to be something that has to do that for that. Mm-hmm. And we've discovered it now, and it's alive, and we're making it better. So there, outside, like Sandy said, outside of Mad Max and who runs Barter Town is all I could think of when you were. I'm
more favorable to the Waterworld Kevin Costner version of the end apocalypse. But yeah.
Oh, gotcha. But don't have Tina Turner on that one.
Well, it could be we could have Keanu Reeves, Neo, and we could have Kevin Costner and Mad Max and
right.
have a compilation apocalypse. So yeah. Right.
Okay, no, but I love this conversation and the fact that crypto is not a fad. It's actually a accepted form of payment, which actually cuts some of the competition and the high rates that many of us are paying for international exchanges or even for big purchases all over the world. The world is getting smaller. There is so much more trade happening all over the world, and it becomes so much more universal that it's not just the US dollar or the euro or just belonging to one region, but crypto becomes something that we can all relate to. So it does make the world a little bit more united in one way. So I loved this conversation. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, Sammy, Gary, on this idea of crypto as a fad?
For myself, whenever I look at something, I always find my personal lowest common denominator. And anybody watching this who's ever had to use SWIFT to send money internationally and a larger sum of lending, that period of time when you can't see it is a little gut wrenching vomiting. When you need supplies, when you need fuel, when you need stuff, whatever your thing is you're doing. And in theory, it should be safe, but your money was in your account and now you got a code and your money is on the way. And the bank that you're sending it to doesn't work the same way as the bank that you had, and there's a lag in there. When you're sending the money, you're like, man, I would pay 10 times the fees not to have this feeling for 3 days. So just the fact that you can just be like, it's here now, it's there, and you that instant relief. I mean, this is the little bit like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna vomit. You're gonna know if you've ever done it. If you haven't, you gotta trust me. But I mean, just that alone would be to not have to go through that. I'm like, that's worth whatever it costs. And this is much cheaper. So it's even better.
I mean, this thing, fad. A follow-up question to that is cryptocurrency real? Like the people who are anti-crypto, or the people who don't understand crypto, or they don't have $1 in crypto, usually their thing is crypto is not real. It's fake money, right? And then really, as we dig deeper into that, the next question or the next statement is, well, aside from real physical cash, your bank account is a ledger entry that the bank controls. Cryptocurrency, when you say it's real or not real, it is also just a ledger entry. And that confirmation code that Gary was talking about is usually your transaction hash. Now, when a transaction hash is pending on whether you're sending Bitcoin or Ethereum, you can see pending 1 of 10 confirmations, 2 of 10 confirmations, and then all of a sudden you see 10 of 10 and the confirmation is complete and you see your account. Now that can happen in 1 minute, 30 seconds. It can happen in 60 seconds, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on the technology and the speed of the network. But I can tell you the comfort level of that is based on the technology. Have you ever deposited a huge check at the bank and it says pending, and it sometimes takes 3 to 10 days for that money to clear and go hard? It's the same thing. All it is a ledger entry. It's not a stack of $100 bills waiting to print off the printing press and then be deposited somewhere. So when you think about cryptocurrency, it is a ledger entry. It's money in, and if it's money in, it's a positive credit onto your ledger account, and you can go in there and check it anywhere on the planet. You don't need to have customer service on the phone. And that's the beauty of cryptocurrency. There's some, cons to that. You lose your password, you lose, your security. So, and that's understanding both, the pros and cons of cryptocurrency. But by far, I think it's pretty cool. The decentralized nature of it, the transparency of being able to see the public blockchain and to see what's going on, the security behind getting access to the blockchain, making debits and credits to a wallet address. The universality of a wallet address, I think is a fantastic thing. So I don't think it's a fad, but again, I have a biased opinion, but more in terms of ease of use, speed, and facilitating more, global transactions and, the growth of global business. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I think it's here to stay. And I mean, I would love to have this conversation 5 years and look back if we think of 2009 or 2008 and it was worth $9 and now it's over $30,000 for one Bitcoin. Just a few years later, I mean, what's it going to be in 5 years' time? It's actually exciting to watch this cryptocurrency industry explode. So if you are interested in joining AxeToken or finding out more, make sure to visit our website at www.axetoken.com, where you can find out more and you can join the cryptocurrency industry and have this conversation with us in 5 years' time. So till next time, thanks, Gary. Thanks, Sammy.
Thank you, Janine. Thanks, Sammy. Thanks, everyone.